Hello, my name is Mary. For more than 20 years, my entire world had only one center, my son, Daniel. I raised him alone, working double shifts and cleaning houses to make sure he never felt the absence of a father. I thought our bond was unbreakable, that I would always be the first person he turned to. But life has a way of showing you that sometimes you are no longer the priority in the life you built. I still remember the exact moment my world shifted. I was standing in my kitchen, stirring a pot of soup, when I asked my daughter-in-law the simplest question in the world. "So, when is the wedding?" She didn't even look up from her phone. 3 words. That's all it took. 3 words that felt like a door closing in my face. 3 words that made me realize I wasn't part of my own son's life anymore. Not in the way I thought I was. Not in the way a mother should be. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just stood there holding that wooden spoon, feeling the steam rise from the pot. And I smiled. I smiled because I didn't know what else to do. I smiled because if I didn't, I would have broken right there in front of her. And I couldn't let her see that. I couldn't let anyone see how much it hurt. You see, I raised my son alone. From the time he was 3 years old, it was just the 2 of us. His father left us for another woman, and I never remarried. I poured everything I had into that boy, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every dollar I earned cleaning houses and working double shifts, it all went to him. I wanted him to have a better life than I did. I wanted him to be happy. I wanted him to have everything. And he did. He grew up strong and smart and kind. He went to college, he got a good job, he met a woman and fell in love. I was so proud of him. I thought I had done something right. I thought all those years of struggle had been worth it. But then he got married, and I wasn't there. This is my story. This is the story of how I lost my place in my son's life, and how I learned that love isn't always enough to keep people close. Let me take you back to the beginning. Back to when my son, Daniel, was just a little boy with big brown eyes and a laugh that could light up a room. Back to when it was just the 2 of us against the world. His father, Robert, left when Daniel was 3. I came home one evening after picking Daniel up from daycare, and there was a note on the kitchen table. Not even a real letter, just a note. It said he'd met someone else, someone who made him feel alive, someone who understood him. He said he was sorry, but he had to go. He said he'd send money for Daniel, but he never did. Not once. I remember sitting on the floor of our tiny apartment holding that note, and Daniel came over and put his little hand on my face. "Mama, why are you sad?" he asked. And I looked at him, at those innocent eyes, and I decided right then that I would never let him feel the pain I was feeling. I would protect him from everything. I would be both mother and father. I would be enough. So that's what I did. I worked 2 jobs. During the day, I cleaned offices. At night, I worked at a diner. I barely slept. But I made sure Daniel had everything he needed. He had clean clothes. He had food on the table. He had books and school supplies and birthday parties. He never went without. We lived simply. We didn't have much, but we had each other. On Sundays, we would make pancakes together. He would crack the eggs, always making a mess, and I would flip them. We would eat them with syrup and butter, and we would talk about his week at school. He would tell me about his friends and his teachers and what he learned. Those were my favorite moments. Just the 2 of us, sitting at our small kitchen table, sharing our lives. When Daniel was 7, he came home from school one day and said, "Mama, why don't I have a daddy like the other kids?" I remember my heart breaking a little. I sat him down and told him the truth in simple words. "Your daddy had to go away, but you have me, and I love you enough for 2 parents." He looked at me with those big eyes and said, "Okay, Mama, that's enough." And for years it was. It really was enough. As Daniel grew older, he became more independent. That's natural, I know. Children are supposed to grow up and build their own lives. But he was always close to me. He would call me every day when he went to college. He would come home on weekends and holidays. He would bring me flowers on my birthday and Mother's Day. He would tell me I was the strongest person he knew. I believed him. I believed that our bond was unbreakable. I believed that no matter what happened, no matter where life took him, he would always need me. He would always want me in his life. I remember the day he graduated from college. I sat in that crowd of thousands of people, and when they called his name, I stood up and cheered louder than anyone. Tears streamed down my face. This was it. This was everything I had worked for. My son, a college graduate. My son with a bright future ahead of him. He found me after the ceremony, and he hugged me so tight. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mom," he said, and I believed him. Then he met Sarah. Sarah came into Daniel's life during his last year of college. He was studying engineering, and she was in business school. They met at a coffee shop near campus. Daniel told me about her the first week they started dating. He said she was smart and beautiful and driven. He said he made him want to be better. He said he thought she might be the one. I was happy for him. Of course I was. What mother wouldn't want her son to find love? I wanted him to have what I never had, a partner who would stay, a partner who would build a life with him, a partner who would make him happy. When I finally met Sarah, she seemed nice enough. She was polite. She smiled. She asked me questions about my work and my life, but there was something in her eyes that I couldn't quite read. Something distant, something guarded. I told myself I was just being overprotective. I told myself I needed to let go and trust that Daniel had chosen well. They dated for 2 years. During that time, Daniel gradually called me less often. He would forget to text back. When I asked when he was coming home for a visit, he would say he was busy with work or that he and Sarah had plans. I understood. He was building his own life. That's what he was supposed to do. But it still hurt. It hurt in a quiet way, the kind of hurt that sits in your chest and doesn't go away. The first real sign that something was wrong came about 6 months before the wedding, or I should say 6 months before the wedding that I didn't know was happening. Daniel and Sarah got engaged. He called me to tell me, and I could hear the excitement in his voice. "Mom, I asked her to marry me, and she said yes," he said. I could hear Sarah laughing in the background. I told him how happy I was. I told him I couldn't wait to help plan the wedding. I told him I loved him. "We'll talk about all that soon, Mom," he said. "We're just enjoying the moment right now." "Of course," I said. "Take your time. Just let me know when you're ready to start planning." But the call to start planning never came. Weeks went by, then months. Every time I asked Daniel about the wedding, he would say they were still figuring things out. He said Sarah wanted to plan it herself because she had a specific vision. He said they would let me know when they had a date. I didn't push. I didn't want to be one of those mothers who interferes. I wanted to be supportive. I wanted to give them space. But deep down, I felt a small ache growing. I felt like I was being left out. I felt like I wasn't important enough to include in something so significant. One evening, I called Daniel just to check in. He answered, but I could hear noise in the background. Music. Voices. "Hey, Mom, can I call you back? We're at Sarah's parents' house for dinner." "Oh," I said. "Of course. Have a nice time." "Thanks, love you." He hung up, and I sat there holding the phone, wondering when the last time was that I had been invited to dinner, wondering when I had become the afterthought. Then, about 3 months before the wedding, Sarah started coming around more often. She would visit with Daniel, and they would stay for dinner. I would cook their favorite meals: pot roast, mashed potatoes, apple pie. I would set the table nicely. I would try to make conversation. But Sarah always seemed distracted. She would check her phone constantly. She would answer in short sentences. She would look at Daniel as if waiting for him to say it was time to go. I tried not to take it personally. I tried to remind myself that some people are just quieter. Some people are just more reserved. But then one evening after dinner, I asked her directly, "Sarah, how is the wedding planning going? Is there anything I can help with?" She looked at Daniel before answering. He looked down at his plate. "It's going fine," she said. "We're keeping it small, just close family and friends." "That sounds lovely," I said. "I'm close family, so just let me know what you need." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Of course," she said, but she never did. She never asked for my help. She never told me about the dress or the venue or the flowers. She never invited me to go with her to pick out anything. I started to feel like I was invisible. One afternoon, I was at the grocery store and I ran into one of Daniel's old friends from high school. His name was Marcus, and he'd always been a sweet boy. "Hi, Mrs. Thompson," he said. "I heard Daniel's getting married next month. That's so exciting." Next month. He said next month. I felt my stomach drop. "Yes," I said, smiling through the confusion. "Yes, it's very exciting." "Are you doing okay with all the planning?" he asked. "I bet it's a lot of work." "Oh, you know," I said, "just trying to help where I can." I left the store in a daze. Next month? Daniel was getting married next month, and I didn't even know the date. I called him as soon as I got to my car. He answered after 3 rings. "Hey, Mom," he said. He sounded busy. "Daniel, when is the wedding?" I asked. I tried to keep my voice steady. There was a pause. We're still finalizing some things. Marcus said it's next month." Another pause. Longer this time. "Yeah, it is. We were going to tell you soon." "Soon?" I said. My voice cracked. "Daniel, you're my son. Why didn't you tell me?" "Mom, please don't make this a big deal," he said. "Sarah and I are trying to keep things simple. We don't want a lot of stress." "I'm not stress," I said. "I'm your mother." "I know," he said quietly. "I'll call you later, okay? I have to go." He hung up. I sat in my car in the grocery store parking lot, and I cried. I cried for the first time in years. I cried because I realized that I was losing him. I was losing the boy I had raised. I was losing the son I had sacrificed everything for. A few weeks later, I tried again. I texted Daniel and asked if we could have lunch, just the 2 of us. He said he was swamped with work, but maybe next week. Next week came and went. No lunch. I saw on social media that Sarah had posted pictures from her bridal shower, a beautiful garden party. There were 20 or 30 women there, friends, family, her mother, her sister, her bridesmaids. I wasn't invited. I stared at those photos for a long time. I looked at Sarah's face, glowing and happy. I looked at all those women celebrating with her, and I wondered what I had done wrong. I wondered why I wasn't worthy of being part of that moment. I called Daniel that night. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail. "Daniel, it's Mom. I saw the photos from Sarah's bridal shower. It looked beautiful. I wish I had known about it. I would have loved to be there. Call me when you can." He texted me the next day. "Sorry, Mom, it was kind of a last-minute thing. Sarah's friends planned it." Last minute, but somehow everyone else knew. The day I found out about the wedding, the day Sarah told me they had already gotten married, was a Saturday. It was a warm afternoon in June. I had invited Daniel and Sarah over for lunch. I made lasagna, garlic bread, and salad. I set the table with my nice dishes. I wanted it to be special. I wanted to spend time with them. They arrived around noon. Daniel hugged me when he came in. "Hey, Mom," he said. "Thanks for having us." Sarah followed behind him. She was wearing a simple white sundress and sandals. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked relaxed, happy even. She kissed me on the cheek. "Hi," she said. We sat down to eat. I asked them about work and their apartment and their plans for the summer. Daniel did most of the talking. Sarah nodded along, occasionally adding a comment. It felt almost normal, almost like old times. Then, as I was clearing the plates, I asked the question that changed everything. "So when is the wedding? I want to make sure I have everything ready." Sarah looked at Daniel. Daniel looked at his hands, and then Sarah said it. "We got married yesterday." I froze. I was holding a stack of plates, and I just froze. "What?" I said. "We got married yesterday," she repeated, "at the courthouse. It was just the 2 of us and a couple of friends as witnesses." I set the plates down on the counter, slowly, carefully. I didn't want to drop them. I didn't want to make a scene. "You got married," I said. "Yesterday?" "Yeah," Daniel said. He still wasn't looking at me. "We decided to just do it. We didn't want to wait anymore." "And you didn't think to tell me?" I asked. My voice was so quiet, so calm.
too calm. "Mom, please don't be upset," Daniel said. "We just wanted it to be simple. No pressure, no expectations." "I'm your mother," I said. "I raised you. I gave you everything I had, and you didn't even tell me you were getting married?" Sarah stood up. "Mrs. Thompson, it wasn't personal. We just wanted it to be about us. We didn't want to deal with all the planning and the drama." "Drama?" I said. "What drama? I've never caused any drama. I've never asked for anything except to be part of your life." "Mom, stop," Daniel said. He stood up too. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." I looked at my son, my beautiful grown son, the boy I had rocked to sleep every night, the boy I had taught to ride a bike and tie his shoes, the boy I had worked 3 jobs to put through college, and he was standing there telling me I was making things hard. "I'm sorry," I said. I didn't know what else to say. "I'm sorry if I've been too much. I'm sorry if I've been in the way." "Mom, that's not what I meant," Daniel said, but Sarah was already picking up her purse. "We should go," she said. Daniel hesitated. For a moment, I thought he might stay. I thought he might sit back down and talk to me. I thought he might tell me he was sorry. But he didn't. He just nodded and followed Sarah to the door. "I'll call you later, Mom," he said. I watched them leave.
I watched my son walk out of my house with his new wife, and I stood there in my kitchen, surrounded by half-eaten lasagna and dirty dishes, and I realized that I had lost him, not because he stopped loving me, but because I wasn't part of his life anymore. Not in the way I thought I was, not in the way I needed to be. After they left, I sat down at the kitchen table, the same table where Daniel and I had eaten pancakes every Sunday for years, the same table where I had helped him with his homework, the same table where we had celebrated his acceptance to college. I sat there for hours, just sitting, just thinking. I thought about all the moments I had missed, the engagement party I wasn't invited to, the bridal shower I didn't know about, the wedding I wasn't at. I thought about all the times I had called and he didn't answer, all the times I had asked to visit and he was too busy, all the times I had felt like I was bothering him just by existing. And I thought about Sarah, about the way she looked at me, about the way she said it wasn't personal, about the way she made it clear that I wasn't welcome in their life. But mostly, I thought about Daniel, about the little boy who used to hold my hand everywhere we went, about the teenager who used to tell me everything, about the young man who used to say I was his hero. Where had that boy gone? When had he stopped needing me? When had I become the problem instead of the solution? I cried that night. I cried harder than I had cried in years. I cried for the loss of my son. I cried for the loss of my purpose. I cried for the loss of myself. Because I realized something that night. I realized that I had built my entire life around Daniel. I had no hobbies. I had no close friends. I had no identity outside of being his mother. And now that he didn't need me anymore, I didn't know who I was. The next few weeks were dark. I went to work. I came home. I ate dinner alone. I watched TV alone. I went to bed alone. Daniel did call me a few days after that lunch. He apologized. He said he didn't mean to hurt me. He said he and Sarah had just wanted to keep things simple. He said they didn't want a big wedding with all the stress and expectations. He said it wasn't about me, but it felt like it was. It felt like everything I had done, everything I had sacrificed, didn't matter. It felt like I had been erased. "Mom, are you listening?" Daniel said. "Yes," I said. "I'm listening." "I love you," he said. "You know that, right?" "I know," I said. But I didn't feel it. I didn't feel loved. I felt forgotten. It took me a long time to come back from that place, that dark, lonely place where I felt like I had lost everything. I didn't know how to move forward. I didn't know how to rebuild a life that had been entirely centered around someone who didn't need me anymore. One evening, about a month after the wedding, I was sitting on my porch drinking tea, and my neighbor came over. Her name was Linda, and we had lived next door to each other for 15 years.
We waved and said hello, but we had never really talked much. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I haven't seen you around much lately." I looked at her, and for some reason, I just started talking. I told her everything, about Daniel, about the wedding, about how lost I felt. She sat down next to me and listened. She didn't interrupt, she didn't judge, she just listened. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I went through something similar with my daughter. She moved across the country and barely calls. It's hard. It's really hard." "How did you deal with it?" I asked. "I had to learn to live for myself again," she said. "I had to remember that I was a person before I was a mother, and I'm still a person now." That conversation changed something in me. It didn't fix everything, but it planted a seed. I started small. I joined a book club at the library. I started volunteering at a local food bank.
I reconnected with old friends from work who I had lost touch with over the years. It was awkward at first. I felt out of place. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. But slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Or maybe I started to discover who I was for the first time. Daniel and I started talking more regularly again. He would call me once a week. We would chat about his work and his life. He would ask about mine. It wasn't the same as before, but it was something. It was a new kind of relationship, one where I wasn't the center of his world and he wasn't the center of mine. One where we were just two people who loved each other, trying to figure out how to stay connected. Sarah and I also started to build a relationship. It was slow and awkward at first, but I made an effort. I invited them over for dinner. I asked her about her job and her hobbies. I listened, really listened, and I started to see her as a person, not just as the woman who took my son away from me. One evening, about a year after the wedding, Sarah and I were sitting on my porch, while Daniel was inside watching a game. She turned to me and said, "I'm sorry about how we did the wedding. I know it hurt you." I looked at her, really looked at her, and I saw something I hadn't seen before. I saw vulnerability. I saw regret. I saw a young woman who had been trying to start her life with the man she loved without hurting anyone. "It did hurt," I said, "but I understand. I understand wanting to do things your own way. I understand not wanting to deal with expectations." "I just didn't want to disappoint anyone," she said. "My family had all these ideas about what the wedding should be. Daniel's friends kept making suggestions. I felt like if we had a big wedding, it wouldn't be ours, it would be everyone else's." "So you didn't tell anyone?" I said. "We told a few people," she said. "But yeah, we kept it really small. And I know that hurt you. I'm sorry for that." "Thank you," I said. "That means a lot." We sat in silence for a while. Then she said, "You're a good mom. Daniel talks about you all the time. He loves you so much." I felt tears prick my eyes. "I love him too," I said, "more than anything." "I know," she said, "and I'm glad he has you. I'm glad we have you." That moment changed things for me. It changed how I saw Sarah. It changed how I saw my role in Daniel's life. I wasn't the only woman in his life anymore. I wasn't the only one who loved him and wanted the best for him. And that was okay. That was how it was supposed to be. Over the next few years, I continued to build my own life. I took painting classes. I started traveling. I made new friends. I discovered parts of myself I had forgotten existed. And my relationship with Daniel grew stronger, not because we spent more time together, but because we were both more honest with each other. One day, he called me and said, "Mom, I need to tell you something." "I've been feeling guilty about the wedding for a long time. I should have told you. I should have included you. I'm sorry." "Daniel," I said, "I've forgiven you for that. You don't need to keep apologizing." "I know," he said, "but I need to say it. You gave up everything for me, and I didn't give you the respect you deserved. I'm sorry." "I did give up a lot," I said, "but I did it because I loved you, and I'd do it again. But I'm also learning that I need to live for myself too, not just for you." "I want that for you," he said. "I want you to be happy, not just as my mom, but as yourself." That conversation healed something in me. It didn't erase the pain, but it helped me understand that Daniel did see me. He did value me. He just had to learn how to love me in a way that allowed both of us to grow.
It's been 3 years now since that day in the kitchen. 3 years since I heard the words, "We got married yesterday." And I'm okay. I'm more than okay. I'm happy. Daniel and Sarah had a baby last year, a little girl named Emma. She has Daniel's eyes and Sarah's smile. When I hold her, I feel a kind of love I thought I had lost, a kind of love that isn't about holding on. It's about being present. It's about being grateful for the moments I do have, instead of mourning the ones I don't. I see them every few weeks. We have dinner, we laugh, we share stories. It's not the same as when Daniel was a little boy and it was just the two of us, but it's good. It's real. It's enough. I've learned something important through all of this. I've learned that being a mother doesn't mean being the center of your child's life forever. It means raising them to be strong enough to build their own life. It means loving them enough to let them go. It means finding your own identity outside of being someone's mother. I've also learned that love isn't measured by how much someone includes you in every moment of their life.
It's measured by the respect, the care, and the effort they show when they do include you. Daniel loves me. I know that now. He loved me even when he got married without me. He loved me even when he made choices that hurt me. He just loved me in a different way, in a grown-up way. And I had to grow up too. I had to learn that my life wasn't over just because his life was beginning. I had to learn that I was more than just a mother. I was a person with dreams and interests and value. I had forgotten that for so many years. I had forgotten who I was outside of being Daniel's mom. Now I'm rediscovering that person, and she's pretty wonderful. To any parent out there who feels forgotten, who feels left behind, who feels like they gave everything and got nothing in return, I see you. I understand. And I want you to know that it's okay to grieve. It's okay to feel hurt. But it's also okay to move forward. It's okay to find yourself again. It's okay to build a life that isn't defined by your children. Because you are more than a mother. You are more than a father. You are a person. A whole, complete, valuable person. And you deserve to be happy. Not because of what your children do, but because of who you are. It took me a long time to realize that my value didn't end just because my son's new life had begun. I had to learn to be Mary again, not just Daniel's mom. Today, as I hold my granddaughter Emma, I understand that love isn't about control. It's about being present in the moments you are given. I raised my son alone. I missed his wedding day, but I didn't miss his life, and I didn't miss my own. And that's what matters most. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of your own strength, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to rediscover yourself after a great sacrifice? Your support, including super thanks, helps us continue sharing these powerful emotional journeys. Thank you for being part of my story. Sending you all so much love, and I'll see you in the next video.